not trying to like feel and process everything at once and like suddenly become regulated. That's would be so traumatic to your body, because trauma is anything that is too much, too fast, too soon. We are meant to heal in slowness. Mm-hmm. And so what we're actually doing is expanding our window of tolerance to feel and to be in the body. I am a like somatic embodiment facilitator, teacher, coach. Everything I do is based in nervous system regulation. You know, everything that we talk about in the spiritual world, getting connected to your intuition, right? Being able to trust yourself, being able to surrender, all of that actually comes from being able to be embodied and be able to have a regulated nervous system in order to be connected to yourself in that way, and also be connected to spirit. So take a lot of spirituality and bring it into the 3D, and yeah, it's been such a beautiful journey.
Hey, I'm Taylor Davis. Welcome to Wildly Satisfied. I hope you enjoy the show. Welcome back. We're here for episode 2 in the series with Rachel Gibler. So excited for us to dive into nervous system regulation, nervous system navigation, whatever you want to call it. We're going to get into some details with somatics. And I'm really pumped to hear more about the practical details, because I feel like sometimes we get into these conversations and they're like, yeah, but how? How do we do this? And I know how is always a question with people whenever they're like, feminine business, how do I do that? And I'm like, cool, we'll get into that in the next episode. But when it comes to somatics, when it comes to some of the things that you mentioned on the last episode that you went through, let's dive into some of your processes.
Okay, great. Yeah, I love this. So I know on the last episode I mentioned that I was in 3 months of isolation, and that was for my own healing journey. And the process that I teach now came out of the 3 months in isolation, just understanding the arc of what it is that I went through. And so, you know, as I mentioned, like, being in the body and living in a chronically dysregulated state, shifting into a place of what they call ventral vagal, which is like the state of aliveness, the state of joy, the state of play, the state of curiosity, which is like what you see most children in, right? And then over time, our body learns to just be chronically dysregulated or chronically in fight or flight. We have to have that as the foundation of everything else. And so, how do you know if you're living chronically dysregulated, right? A phrase that I love is overthinking is underfeeling.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I didn't make that up. I heard that somewhere and I was like, this is so good. I think it's like one of those quotes that like no one knows who said it, but it's like circulating.
Well, it's ChatGPT to say
yeah.
who
And
said it.
If somebody knows,
let us
we'll
know.
give them props. Yeah, overthinking is underfeeling, and that's the kind of basis of dysregulation. So anytime that you notice that you are in your head constantly, you're overthinking, you're constantly stressed out, anytime that you're living in the past or ruminating about the future, you're in the story, you are in dysregulation. Dysregulation also is anything that lacks the state of aliveness. So, you know, in my program, we teach like, dysregulation on like a ladder, right? And so you have your play, your joy, your aliveness, which is the state that we, you know, most of us desire to be in. We're meant to have dysregulation, right? We're supposed to be dysregulated at times to keep us safe, right?
Yeah.
We have that functionality for a reason. When you think all the way back to the caveman days, again, right? It's like we're supposed to, like fight or flight. If you look at like animals in the wild, if an animal is being chased by a predator, right? They're in fight or flight, they're activated, they're, you know, meant to keep themselves safe, and you'll see them sprint, run, you know, hide, whatever they do, freeze, fawn, all the different states of the nervous system. And then when they're no longer in a state of dysregulation, which served them, you'll see them shake, they'll move, they'll dispel that like cortisol, that energy, and they'll go back to their baseline, which is what we're actually meant to do. So we're supposed to have dysregulation, right, to keep ourselves alive. But what happens is we're not getting chased by a saber-toothed tiger anymore, right? And so, but our body is acting as if we are whenever we experience shame, guilt, separation in any way, right? Because our body thinks, oh my God, if I'm separated from the pack, then I'm not going to be, you know.
Are we safe?
I'm not going to be safe.
I'm gonna get attacked.
Exactly. And then our body learns over time and we stay in that state of dysregulation. And so on this ladder, there's, you know, the fight or flight, kind of where you're really activated in a sympathetic state. There is the freeze, which is having one foot on the gas and one foot on the brakes. So that can look a lot like if you chronically procrastinate, say in your business, right? If you constantly know what you need to do and you can't get yourself to do the thing, or you're doing all of the tasks, but you're not doing the eat the frog task, and you're just kind of doing the things that are like easy and like dog paddling and keeping yourself afloat.
Yeah.
It's often not because you're lazy, stupid, wrong, bad, broken in any way. It's that you're in a state of dysregulation, and your body is trying to keep you safe.
It's like something, is it close to functional freeze?
Yes, that's exactly what it is.
Or dysfunctional freeze or whatever it is.
Yeah, functional freeze. So, yeah, exactly. So being in freeze is like you feel activated on the inside. So you're in a sympathetic state, but you're frozen on the outside. And again, you could still be functional in your life, but you're not actually doing the things, like you're not operating from the state of aliveness. And then the last one, which is usually can be often the most challenging one to move through, is dorsal vagal shutdown, which is fawn or collapse.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's when you are in freeze, but your body's so tired of being activated that you fully go into collapse, which that can be like depression, full burnout, things like that. Can't get out of bed, can't move, or you could still be in a functional, shutdown as well.
Yeah.
And every single nervous system state has a story that goes with it. So you can know what state you're in based on the story that your mind is telling.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, which is really, people don't know that,
No,
right?
I've literally never heard this before. And I worked so much with like burnout. I've worked with different like nervous system regulation and trauma experts.
Yes.
Like, I want to know this.
Yes,
So much.
totally. So, every single state has a different story attached to it, has a different, like literally posturing in the body. Like all of the different states have almost like a complete personality, beliefs about self, beliefs about the world when you're in that state. And so when we think of like the mind informs the body, right? And that's the top down approach. Well, the body also informs the mind. So when the body is in a certain nervous system state, it's giving the mind stories. It's happening simultaneously. So but when you're blended with that part of you, you're not actually realizing that this is a nervous system state.
Yeah.
So
You think it's just who you are.
yes,
But it's not who you are.
Right.
It's how you're behaving because something is going on inside of your nervous system.
exactly.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. And we can get into parts work and all that kind of stuff because it's different parts of you have different nervous system states.
Yeah.
So this is everything that I teach in my program.
I love this.
So like a dorsal vagal, so a shutdown state, a full collapse state, your belief about yourself is like, it's never going to work out. So let's say in business, so people in business, right? So let's use this because this is a great example for anybody in entrepreneurship. And also know, like, you might have your habitual patterning of what states you typically fall into. So some people might really go into fight. And that's like their state that they typically go into. Some people immediately go into damsel in distress collapse, right? So it just depending, and in relationships, you might go into fight, but with your business, you might go into collapse. So different elements of your life elicit different nervous system responses as well.
Okay.
So everybody's different as well. And so anyone listening to this, you'll probably start to see yourself in this a little bit. So, say, with your business. Say you try to do all the things, you're running in overdrive, you're freaking out, and you're like, oh my God, we have to get this done and this done. You're in a state of flight, right? And then you get overwhelmed by all the tasks that you have to do, and then all of a sudden you're like, fuck it, I don't care at all. And you go into collapse, right?
Yeah.
So then when you're in collapse, you shame yourself, and the story could often be like, this is never gonna work. Why is everybody else seem like they can do it and I can't? This is like so hopeless. Like and you get into like almost that state of depression. So the story in a collapse state is hopelessness about yourself, hopelessness about the world, hopelessness about the state of your business, like whatever that is. And maybe you only stay in that for a day or for 48 hours. Maybe you stay in a month. Like it kind of depends on like the severity of what the circumstance is, right?
I literally had someone, and this is not in any way shaming the person. I always say like in this state, because I've had this too. I'm like, I'm so dramatic in this state.
Totally.
Everything is falling apart.
All consuming.
Yeah.
And I am somebody that is a big feeler on the whole spectrum. I think I'm pretty intense with everything I feel. So like I always tell people, I'm like, I have there's nothing you can tell me that I have not said to myself or experienced. Like, I do this work because I need this work. So, and it's gotten better and better and better over time, obviously. Like, I rarely fall into that now. That's super rare for me, but like, for years, I was in a dorsal vagal collapse state, especially after breakups. Oh my God, like the amount of time, and I would self-medicate and numb for like a month and lay in bed and be in complete collapse. This was, in my early 20s, but still, like, I really, really relate to people in this way. So that was a habitual pattern for me. For some people, let's give relationships, for example, they get activated by their partner. And again, as we know, it mirrors some type of relationship from childhood with a caregiver, a parent, right? And the habitual patterning is to go into fight. Mm-hmm. So, you end up, maybe the story is they're judging me. Like, they think, XYZ about me. I can't believe that they would do it. And the story is like, what the fuck? Yeah. And I have to protect myself, right? The world is out to get me, or this person is out to get me, or I'm so misunderstood. And going into that could be a story of a fight response in dysregulation. So again, anything that is lacking a state of connectedness, aliveness, joy, but just aliveness and connectedness to ourselves and the world around us, that is the only time that we're actually in a regulated state.
Is when we're in a joy.
Is when we are in a state of connectedness and aliveness.
Yeah.
And that will also be mirrored in gratitude, be mirrored in your ability to connect with people, mirrored in your ability to feel grounded in yourself, ability to feel surrendered to the unfolding of life, to not have to figure it out, to be trusting, to be able to hear your intuition, to be able to connect to your body. We're in a state of regulation. Yeah. Everything that's outside of that is dysregulation in some way.
I feel that. Mm-hmm. And I feel that so much.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's interesting because I've had conversations lately because there's been a lot of burnout recently. Mm-hmm. And so many times I've had the conversation with all these amazing feminine entrepreneurs that they're like, I feel like I'm constantly in a burnout. And I was like, yeah, it's hustle, it's dysregulation, it's that. Mm-hmm. And I go, what's going to happen a lot of the times, when I work with them, right? Mm-hmm. While I am not a somatic therapist, I am none of those things. We obviously talk about these things because it's how you're navigating stress. Mm-hmm. And even when we put all the things in place, all the systems, the team, their partner is doing well, they're having so much fun, everything like that, right? Everything's like, oh my God, it's everything that I needed to actually put myself in a regulated state that was causing this dysregulation. And I go, yes. And what's about to happen is that because you're so used to being dysregulated,
you're going to blow it up.
You're going to blow it up. You're going to fuck some shit up. Yeah. And there's going to be something that happens. Yeah. And then your body is going to want to go back to that state that it knows so well. Yeah. Because you're just so used to it.
Exactly.
But it's it takes just a little bit of reprogramming to get there. But it's so even when you have all the things, guys, it's not going to be bam, I'm a brand new person. Yeah. You have to get used to a new reality.
100%.
And you got to get your body on board with that too. So I love this. The stories for each level. That's amazing.
Yeah, no, it's great. When you start to actually understand, you can tell what state you're in based on the story that your mind is telling, based on the feeling in your body. And for different people, they're going to be able to have access points in different ways. Some people are I have no idea what my body's even telling me, which was me for many, many years. Yeah. So understanding it through the story was really helpful. And to your point, our body is in a chronically dysregulated state and or has habitual patterning, right? Yeah. Is addicted to a certain way of being. And it's very unfamiliar to feel safe and to feel calm. And so actually dysregulation feels safe to most people, and that's okay. And I think that's really important is bringing this conversation of this is something that we slowly titrate into. It's not all of a sudden we're going to be in a regulated state. Not all of a sudden, and it's okay to be dysregulated, right? But it's actually what we're doing is this in and of itself, anybody listening to this is giving you context and information to learn about your nervous system, to learn about yourself, right? And then as you start to do somatic work, we're not trying to feel and process everything at once and suddenly become regulated. Would be so traumatic to your body because trauma is anything that is too much, too fast, too soon, right? And so we are meant to heal in slowness. And so what we're actually doing is expanding our window of tolerance to feel and to be in the body. So like, I mean, I know we talked about practices a little bit. It's like literally doing the most simple things like getting into your breath, doing a body scan, allowing yourself to like count your breaths, like do 4, 7, 8 breathing for 2 minutes, right? And expanding your window of tolerance is like before, maybe you could only be in your body for 10 seconds, you know, and now you're noticing that you can actually, like maybe it was 4 breaths before you popped out into the mind, and maybe now it's 10, like, you know, it's literally about expanding your window of tolerance of being able to be in the body and feel what's there. And from that place, like, you're literally slowly like titrating your ability to feel and your ability to, a lot of people say hold emotion. I say run emotion. Yeah. Because I think emotions aren't meant to be held. They're meant to be run. Yeah. And so it's, people are like, hold more, hold more, hold more. I'm like, no, I don't want to hold more. I want to run more through my body so that I create space for more of me and my soul and my truth to be filled in my being, right? And then as things come up, move it through.
Like, do you have capacity to allow more in? Yeah. But you should always be circulating things.
Yes,
breath,
exactly.
Energy, emotions, money, love, everything should be circulating through you.
Because circulation is aliveness.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it all comes back, right? Yeah. Anytime that we're holding, we're contracting, we're stagnating energy. Same thing with money, same thing with anything else, right? Is like you're actually stopping the flow of abundance that is naturally who you are. So as we learn how to feel and process and move and circulate and all the things, like we're actually creating more aliveness.
I love this conversation so much. I'm over here like, okay, my brain straight goes into, you should just have a product. It's just about that with the different stories for different things. And I'm over here like going into business mode.
Yeah, I know, right?
I was like, well, because I get really turned on when I see someone like in their joy of the work that they're doing. And I'm like, oh my God, this, and this, and this. Because that's something that people don't talk about. The stories of the different states that you're in. And that's how you know, because even we don't know the language of our body because we're not taught the language of our body. Exactly. And so I love that this is something that you're doing with people because we just are not taught this. Yeah. And I'm glad that we could actually bring this to the media platform because if I had known this, and I think this is probably the same for you too, if we had known this when we were younger, how different would life be? Yeah. How more amazing and what opportunities, how expansive could we have been? How much more love could we have created in the world? Totally. And I think that's so beautiful. Oh my goodness. Yeah. I'm like, ooh.
It's so important. Well, I would love to actually go into the 6-part process for people. Yes. I think that would be really helpful because what we've only talked about is step 1 out of the 6.
Okay. Yes.
So I have a 6-part process that I take people through. I've run it live if we're talking about business, I've run it live 2 times this past year, and this was what was born out of isolation for me. And I went back and did the whole integrative somatic trauma certifications and all of the, learning about the nervous system and getting certified and all that stuff. But for me, the place that this was born from was not a certification. It was not a classroom. It was not an education. It was literally my own embodiment of the work. And so this process I truly believe is the foundation for literally anything, anyone in their life, business owner, or like it's the process of full healing to me. And again, we're still like moving, developing it, adding more to it. We're probably going to make it a passive course this coming year with Allie. Yay. Allie's my right hand business everything, which we'll get into team in the 3rd one because that's helped me so much in feminine business. Yes. However, so the 6-part process is regulate, release, reparent, rewire, repattern, and rise. Ooh. And it's so good. And regulate is what we've been talking about, which is regulating the nervous system, finding safety in the body, understanding the nervous system states and stories, right? And so it's like a framework for the nervous system of understanding what state do I habitually go in and in what circumstances in my life so that you become the observer, right? Instead of like, I'm blended with like, I'm just this way, and then I fucking collapse, and why can't I do the thing, and then I self-sabotage, and da, 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 da. Like all of that. It's about becoming the observer of the state that you're in, the observer of the stories that you have, and understanding where dysregulation is in your life, right? Without shame, without guilt, without blame, just with understanding it with curiosity. Mm-hmm. So step one is regulation, and it's just about understanding it and creating safety in the body. Mm-hmm. The way we begin to create safety is how we mentioned earlier: breath, sound, and movement, especially breath, body scans, starting to feel sensation in the body. Mm. So as you're doing a body scan, right? And this can be really hard for people. And so we end up doing this for a couple weeks, actually, because having safety in the body, again, for people, especially in my program, I'm like, this is going to feel slow, and then it's going to feel fast. And this is purposeful because we want to be creating safety in the body with slowness. Mm-hmm. So again, we don't want to do this all at once. We don't want to be blowing out people's nervous system by doing all the releasing things and we'll get to it. Yeah. But we need to understand what safety in the body feels like in the present moment, here and now.
Yeah.
And so that looks like a body scan. That looks like getting acquainted with the breath and starting to like notice, okay, where do I notice sensation, heat, tingling, feeling, tightness. A lot of times people have tightness in their jaw, they'll have tightness in your shoulders. You might have a tingling sensation in your heart. Maybe you have some warmth in your solar plexus in your stomach. Mm-hmm. There's just, and again, there's no right or wrong. Some people are like, how do I even know? Well, you might have lived dissociated for a really long time. So maybe your practice is doing a body scan every single day. People, what is the most simple is always the most profound. Mm-hmm. So I think people always look like, what's the next modality? What's the biggest thing? Like, what's the thing that's going to give me the big breakthrough? It's like, actually, your breakthrough is sitting here and being with your body every single day, over and over and over again. That's going to be your most profound transformation. Yeah. And people don't understand that. It's like, actually, they say in meditation, and this is what Allie's actually told me. She's a beautiful meditation. She's just amazing. Allie Schlenner, everybody, shout out. And she's like, the most advanced meditation technique is a body scan. Mm-hmm. And it's like, that is simple. Like people are looking for this really overcomplicated answer, and it's like, actually, it's right here in the present moment.
It's being with your body, because it's
in your body.
How can you expect your body to be with you if you won't be with it?
Oh, yes. Oh my God, chills. So good. So good. Yes, exactly. It's getting reacquainted with that relationship, because it's a relationship, right? Same thing with your relationship with money. Same thing, like your relationship with men or your partner, right? It's like, if you don't tend to it, if you don't love it, if you don't nurture it, ask it what it needs. Like, how do you think that relationship's going to be? Yeah. Just like with anything else in your life. So your body's the same.
Are you being avoidant or anxious with your body?
Yeah,
Which
totally.
With attachment?
Yeah, right. Like, how are you, how you're relating to your body? How are you treating your body? How are you speaking about your body? What are the stories that you tell about your body? And so it's about the reacquaintance and creating safety in the body. So that's always step one. Step two, in the release week, we go into somatic release tools. So once you begin to get acquainted with the sensations in your body, oftentimes those sensations can come with feelings. Not always if we're really numb, but also numbness is a feeling.
It is.
Yeah. So when you start to get acquainted with what's there, there's typically emotion that lies underneath the surface. And so then we get into somatic release tools to move that energy through the body. So again, in somatic work, breath, sound, and movement, that's all you have to know. And you could intuitively do also, like all somatic work. We're all doing somatic work all the time, like in breath, like everything is somatic, right? Yeah. But that looks like shaking. That looks like we do anger and rage release, which is like hitting a pillow, screaming, right? Like sound, saying words of things that you haven't said or haven't felt. Like for everybody, it's going to be different. Yeah. But yeah, we do like pillow hitting and shaking and tantrums and like letting out the different emotions through the body. Yeah. So we do a lot of somatic release work. And then inevitably, when you start to release those emotions through the body, you'll have different parts of yourself that will be activated or that will come online that are asking to be reparented. So that's why when we go into the reparent work in week 3. And so a lot of what I actually teach and what helped me so much and what I did with my therapist was internal family systems work, which I don't know, have you done any of that stuff? Okay.
Yes.
So IFS has absolutely changed my life. And basically take IFS and your standard like reparenting that you think of, like reparent your inner child. It's like a lot of people,
They love the buzzwords.
talk about that, but it's like, what does that actually mean?
Yeah.
What does that actually look like, right? And so in IFS, it's basically the understanding that we are all kind of have like multiple personalities or multiple parts of ourselves that are online and either conflicting or like in cahoots with each other at any given time. I don't know how else to say that. So that's why you'll be like, well, a part of me really wants to start this business. And like a part of me knows that like I'm meant to serve and I'm meant to be out there. But another part of me is like really scared to put myself out there online and like doesn't want to like own it and like is so afraid of judgment. And another part of me is like so afraid that like, what if I fail? And what if this doesn't work? And, so all of those different parts of yourself, all with different personalities, all with different belief systems, all with different nervous system states and stories.
Oh my goodness. Because I'm resonating with this right now. I'm like, oh my God, I have all 3 of those parts right now.
Totally.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so we map the different parts of ourselves.
Okay.
So what ends up happening is you get activated, right? And you are getting acquainted with the different feelings that are there. You're learning how to somatically move and process those through your body. And then we get to look at what are the parts that are coming up. And so there's different parts of the body and being that you'll have, let's say, if we map the parts, most people have some version of, I have a procrastinator part. That's typically in functional freeze, right? And then I have the bully part that comes in and bullies my procrastinator part. Because why the fuck are you procrastinating? You know what you need to do, right? And then we have the collapsed part that goes into damsel in distress and like doesn't actually believe that she can do it. And that like, and then we have the, in IFS, they're called managers and firefighters. And essentially, I won't go like too much into it, but the managers are the parts that manage your life. So it's the inner critic part. It's the controlling part, the one that always wants to control the outcome or control other people. Yeah. It's the bully. It's the perfectionist is a part, right? And there's many, 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 many different parts, but the parts that try to manage your life, that try to manage your business, that keep it all together, like all of those, right? That's actually in a state of flight all the time, right? Or fight, right? And then when the managers are really fucking tired of managing your life, we go into firefighters. The firefighters blow up your life. Oh. So the procrastinator that blows it up, the part of you that goes and gets drunk when you're not, or like, I don't do that anymore, but I used to. But like the part of you that wants to blow everything,
burn it all down,
burn it all to the ground.
I think someone I know calls it manic Molly.
Perfect. Yeah, we can name our parts.
I want to be crazy. I want to go party. I want to do all the things. I don't want to do this.
That's how I ended up with 28 tattoos because my firefighter, the part that wanted to blow it up would go get tattoos and piercings in her 20s. So I somehow ended up with a whole hand tattoo. We love that for her, for me. So the parts that, fully blow up your life or fall into collapse or those different pieces. And again, all parts can be online and conflicting with each other or be like allies to like try to keep you safe, right? And none of them are actually the truth of who you are. If we go back to what I explained on episode 1, all of them are products of the splinters in our wholeness. So it's all, they were born out of adaptations of the way that they thought they had to be in order to keep you safe. So every single part of you serves a purpose, and we get to love it and we get to understand it because it thinks that it's doing what's best for you to keep you safe and alive. And so in the reparenting aspect of this, we look at the different parts of understanding that they're just simply wounded children that created an adaptation to not be shamed, bad, wrong, or broken. And they're protecting the exiled parts of you. So the managers and the firefighters, those are like the face, right? Those are like the things that protect you. Yeah. And they're protecting you from the feeling. They're protecting you from the part of you that felt bad, wrong, broken, shamed, not enough as a child that was like, I'm never going to feel that again.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to therefore create an adaptation, a part of me that procrastinates, a part of me that manages and controls, a part of me that is a super perfectionist, right?
I had someone tell me, they're like, for me at least, what came out was, can you lay down the armor? Can you lay down the sword? Because all my people were like Viking warriors and like they were all like badass swordsmen and stuff like I watched Buffy a lot when I was growing up.
Okay, love it.
So it was great. They were all like badass fighters and witches and stuff like that. So,
yeah. Well, and that's what it is. It's right. Can I lay down the mask of the part of me that has to defend and protect?
Yeah.
And can I actually reveal, and this goes into feminine work, can I reveal the feeling, the tender feeling that's underneath? And we only feel safe to do that when we feel safe in our own body, which comes back to creating safety in the body and learning how to regulate your own body and being, which is why I do so much work with safety in the body first before we go into this.
Yeah.
So in the reparenting is my favorite module. It's the biggest module that we do. Like we could spend an entire year on this.
So,
but it's learning where your protector parts come in and also learning how to feel what's underneath and hasn't been felt. And in reparenting, when we bring in love, compassion, curiosity, that is what our inner child actually needed from our parent or our caregiver at that time. And that's also what those parts need from us.
Yeah.
So whenever we shame a part of ourselves, I don't want to feel that. Anytime that you don't want to feel something, you're actually telling it that it's not okay to be there and that it's not safe or it's not right or, it's wrong in some way. And so instead the practice becomes, how do we invite that part in and love it? How do we love our protector parts? How do we literally invite them in and welcome them to have a seat at the table and get curious because they all have a gift for us. So it's learning, how to, and then reparenting what's there, feeling, using the release tools, processing what's underneath, letting yourself hold yourself in that. And that's actually what active reparenting is of the self, is welcoming it in with loving approval and compassion. Yeah. It's huge. Wow. Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay, so that's two.
Those are the first three modules.
Those are the first three modules. I was like, 1, 2, 3. Okay, you got more. Okay.
That was the biggest one though, but the rest of them, I can go quick on these next three, but.
It reminds me of the last one, and then I would love to hear the remaining three. It reminds me of Inside Out. The movie Inside.
I haven't seen it.
Oh my God. So I haven't seen it either, but all I see is clips of it. And the second one, anxiety comes in. Okay. Like they all have like switchboards, and it's each one like anger, and then there's sadness, and then there's joy, and then they're all individual little beings, like parts. And then in part 2, she becomes the person that becomes a teenager. And then suddenly there's a new person in this control room, and they're like, who are you? And they're like, my name's anxiety. We're going to do this and this and this and this. Oh my God, you got to go watch it.
Oh my God, interesting.
I've just seen parts of this movie, which is funny considering what we're talking about. But I've only seen parts, and I'm like, this is so accurately like described. And then what you're describing, I'm like, damn, you need some like memes around this.
Oh my God. Okay.
It'd be perfect for you.
Wait, I love that. Yeah. I'm going to have to check it out.
Yeah.
And so reparenting is huge. And like, if anybody did just one of these modules, like meaning like if you just focus on regulation or just focus on releasing, like this in and of itself would change your life. But when you do the entire arc, like for me at least, that's been like the thing. And so the remaining 3 are rewire, repattern, and rise. And I'm like, I should probably trademark this process before we put it up. But no, that's okay. I trust. So most people in the subconscious reprogramming space, right? Or like you think of like clinical hypnotherapy, or you think of like I'm a clinical hypnotherapist, so I'm like not even like hating on this. It's great. Like all of these different modalities are perfect. Yeah. And like for me, I'm interested in like what is the core to all of this that is going to heal, right? Versus like the one modality, like do EFT tapping. It's like, well, that's a part of it.
It's a tool.
It's not a tool, right? But it's not the thing. Yeah. And so most people will be like, go in and like reprogram your subconscious mind, reprogram your limiting beliefs, like visualize something different. It's like, well, if we don't do the first 3 parts, rewiring is a Band-Aid. And so that's why you're like, why am I so self-aware and yet I'm still stuck in the same patterns? I know all of my stories. I know all of my limiting beliefs from childhood. I know all of the ways that they show up in my life. And yet I'm still doing the same fucking thing. And then you're in the hole even more because you're just self-sabotaging. And then you're like, I'm so self-aware and yet I'm still doing this in my business, in my life, in my relationships. Well, it's because the nervous system is dysregulated. It's because there's parts that haven't been felt and there's inner child, different parts running the show still.
And there's a part of you that I feel like that state, this fourth one for me, that what I've witnessed people is it's almost like you're trying to convince yourself that you believe something.
Exactly.
And I'm like, but you don't really believe it. Like, because you didn't do the first three.
Right.
And so if you're like, oh my God, I'm going to make $1 million this month.
Exactly.
Or 100,000 or 10K or whatever it is. It's like, do you know that?
Right.
Or are you trying to convince yourself that you believe it, which is actually bypassing like the first 3 steps.
Exactly.
Talking about.
Exactly. Yeah. And is your nervous system actually on board for that? And typically no, right? Yeah. So that's why like we can look in the mirror and do mirror affirmations all damn day. But then if your body and being and nervous system is rejecting that, right? Like we're trying to put a Band-Aid on something. And I will say you can get kind of far trying to like, convince yourself in those ways. Like that's why I got the vision board reality and realized that I couldn't feel it at all. And it's like, oh, well, because the exiled parts of me that still felt bad, wrong, and broken were still running the show and just were insatiable trying to like get the stuff to feel better or like, receive the validation in some way. And I didn't even know I was doing it. And that's why it wasn't until I suddenly like, hit all the milestones that I realized it wasn't the key in the ticket to what it was that I was actually looking for, which was connection, aliveness, and growth, and like, all of that.
Enjoying your life.
Enjoyment. Yeah.
Being wildly satisfied.
Yeah.
Literally, like.
Yeah. Exactly right. Exactly right. So that's why the 4th module is rewire, because again, I'm not negating subconscious reprogramming. We have to do that work. It's great work. And it's only 50% of the puzzle. And so that's why most people talk about, reprogram your subconscious, like manifest the things, like do the affirmations. It's like, well, unless we do the first things, that's not actually going to stick. And so in Rewire, we talk about subconscious reprogramming, and also in reprogramming your attention and also letting it land in the body. So again, what is simple is most profound. And so it is gratitude. It is finding what we call glimmers, which I learned from Deb Dana, who is one of my nervous system teachers. And she talks about this concept of glimmers, which is like finding moments of ventral vagal, meaning the nervous system state of aliveness in your life. So finding aliveness, moments of aliveness in your life that are unexpected and like make you feel, the word is escaping right now, but it's like, they have to be unexpected and something else, but it's like kind of like warm, like the warm and fuzzy feeling. Yes, like that. Yes. Yeah. So it could be like, I saw a little chipmunk like running across with a nut, and you're like, oh, or like a baby at the grocery store smiled at me. Yeah. Like little tiny moments of ventral in your life. And so so I talk about subconscious reprogramming, not just from like your limiting beliefs, but actually from reprogramming the body. Through finding moments of ventral throughout the day and breathing them in and like letting them land in your system. Because again, we're like titrating ourselves out of fight or flight and chronically dysregulated states into expanding our tolerance for living in a state of aliveness.
I love this. I love this so much. Yeah. I'm like, okay, give me the last 2. I'm like, surfer this. Yes. I'm like sold. I want all those modules.
Yeah. Oh my God. They're great. I'm really thinking, Allie and I were literally talking this morning. We're like, this needs to be like a much more robust program that's like passive. And so I think we're going to rebuild it because I wanted to test it first. Like, as you know, like you always want to test the, and I tested it. We had 100 people go through this process in 2 rounds. Yeah. And it was just like amazing. And I took a group of incredible women through it where I taught live and I'm facilitating live. So it was always like some type of blend of like teaching, facilitation, and hot seat coaching, depending on like what we were doing. And this was it was an 8-week thing. So it could be like a lot longer with like so many more practices. And I think that's what we're going to do in the new year. I'll like sit it down. So then, you can totally like, be a part of it.
Hey, this is probably coming out in the new year. So go check her out.
Great. Yeah. We'll see where we're at this point. And this is the work that I do at my retreats as well. Oh, so all of this stuff we do in person at the retreats too. Yeah. So it's just like fucking amazing.
I love this.
So then the last 2 modules are repattern, which is about repatterning the body and the nervous system to be able to hold what it is that you're calling in. And so we actually I do facilitation of somatic practices, where we're actually like feeling and releasing. okay, how do I explain this? The body holds tension patterns based on like how we, like our belief systems, like our like shoulders can hunch over. So if you think of like when you're in shame, you typically close, right? And so what we do is I take people on an arc of like actually feeling into like the different patterns and stories and beliefs that have held them back, and take the posture of that in their body. And then we somatically break through it and open through it and like start to pattern what it feels like in the body to actually like expand and receive more. So it's like a visualization with actually like somatic repatterning work. And it's all to music that's like in a crescendo, and it goes with it. Like it's a whole journey. It's very precise. So that's actually an experiential module, which we'll build out more when we do it in the passive version, but it's about like understanding how to repattern your body to be able to hold more and like really visualize like, and like how would I show up? Like even think of, when they tell you before an interview, like put your hands on your hips and like open your body, like that's repatterning the nervous system in the body, and it's like sending signals to the brain. So it's like we're doing experiential work in repatterning.
It's like power posing, and it's just retraining your body.
Yeah.
Physically,
exactly
what you want to experience externally, internally. So
exactly, yeah, because as we know, the mind informs the body, but the body informs the mind. So actually, how are we taking the shape of the expression that we actually want, and how do we begin to start practicing that?
I love that.
And so that's an experiential module, which is beautiful. And then Rise is all about our relationship with trust, devotion, and surrender.
Oh, I feel that a lot right now. I love this.
Yeah, and so the hardcore bulk is the first 4 modules, and then we go into like actually repatterning the body, and then we look at, okay, life is going to be uncertain, right? We're actually always in relationship with the unknown, and so how do we fully like allow ourselves to find safety in that surrender? How do we actually live from a place of, and a lot of this is also feminine work, devotion instead of discipline, which I know will lead a lot into probably what we talk about in part 3.
Yeah.
And being in our feminine receptivity, being able to like feel, process, and be in the longing of the unknown, and how do we like let that move through our being, and how do we create from a place of what we're devoted to, rather than like the hustle and the discipline. And then when you go through the whole arc of all 6 modules and processes, they become almost like an infinity symbol. Yeah. So this is all a process of like, you could go through this entire process in a moment, like in a few minutes, right? It's like, oh, I'm activated. Okay, my nervous system is dysregulated. Let me open to let myself feel that. What part of myself needs loving, compassion, and reparenting in this moment? Okay, can I find openness and aliveness to what is happening here? And can I live in trust and devotion and surrender? And when you practice that over and over and over again, it's the foundation for literally everything. And it's just, that's been the whole process that I teach.
I love it. It's so practical. And I love that you even ended with devotion, because something that I told my roommate, and actually a lot of my clients were like, yeah, well, I want to be disciplined and I want to be consistent, all these things. And I'm like, you're coming from a masculine lens. The feminine is devotional. And I was like, so have a morning devotion. Whatever that is to you, not a morning routine. I was like, what's a morning devotion? What's an evening devotion? What's a ritual and a way of being? And this obviously can be used all the time, what you're describing. But I'm like, there's such a different essence to how we talk about things in the feminine, instead of what we've been taught so much in the masculine. And so I feel like we could go so much deeper into this. There were so many good pieces. Like, I love that you shared all of that. That's beautiful. And I feel like we'll go more into the feminine embodied leadership in the next part, which I'm really excited for. But I think that was a lot to digest.
That was a lot of information. I threw so much at you guys.
It was so beautiful. Okay. I was like, yes, give it all to me. And so I'm glad that there was like the practicality, and like, if there's anything that anyone wants from that, please, there will be links in the show notes and everything. Go and buy it from her. Like,
amazing.
I'm over here like, how do I buy it right now?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I love it. Well, we'll have, I think I'm currently in this moment, people can buy the last round of Expand, but it is me teaching live with students. So they get this whole process, but then eventually we will do the the passive one that's going to be like built out a lot more. So we'll do both, but depending on when this comes out, either way, you'll have some type of link in the show notes for people to be able to go through it. Yeah.
I'm so excited for that. Okay, well, for the next episode, we're going to dive into embodied leadership in a feminine business, and I can't wait to talk about it. Yay. Thank you so much for listening to this Wildly Satisfied production. I hope you enjoyed the show, and we would love it if you would share it with someone that you love, leave a review, or come tag us on social media at Wildly Satisfied.